What's going on, creators? You just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today just like to continue the conversation on mental diets and hopefully add something positive to your mental diet. Really been on a kick lately of the subconscious mind, how to impress your subconscious mind with more empowering beliefs, assumptions. But a lot of it is just letting go of the old limiting beliefs and assumptions, and just by doing that, you naturally start to rise in consciousness. And so, as you kind of navigate your day, you have all these thoughts and these beliefs and these assumptions that kind of just come to the surface of your consciousness, whether there's like a event, circumstance, utterance, whatever it happens to be, some shit from the world. Anything that's causing a lot of reactivity, start to look at that, start to make the dots, connect the dots looking backwards of like, how did I get here? How did I get so triggered? What about this, happened that now I'm spiraling, freaking out? A lot of it has to do with maybe a thought, a belief, some event triggered some, a belief that's like super limiting, super fearful, super hysterical, or just some bullshit cultural belief, from the world, and like what I mean by like the world, is like, it's kind of subjective, it's based on your culture, but there's like this overarching paradigm, this narrative that creeps its way in to culture. It's like at least fucking my environment, you can't get around it, without hearing, oh, did you hear about the economy? Oh, did you hear about the COVID? Oh, did you hear about whatever, monkeypox? You hear about monkeypox? You hear about this war? You hear about blah blah blah? It's just like, media narratives and cultural narratives. It's like, it's ultimately reflecting culture. If you get into like maybe like the trans surfing kind of vibe of like, people getting caught up in these pendulums, these like collective consciousnesses where it's like really draining, and you get into these groupthink scenarios and whatever. It was very obvious with COVID, but even before COVID, that whole kind of like mentality of with probably 30% of the population, just being completely mesmerized by whatever's on the screen. And you have like a 30% of just pussies that just go with whatever appears to be the authority. It doesn't matter what they, it doesn't matter what the authority's saying. This group just wants to be on the winning side. They have no real backbone, really a bunch of cowards. So you got about 60% of the population that are just really shit, involved in the shit show, where then you have like 30% of other people, but it's like, even with those numbers, it's like, it doesn't matter. So it's like, for me personally, it's like, I don't need you to be wrong so I feel right. It's just like, I don't care what is going on, as long as it's not trying to get me to agree to your narratives. It's like, because I see a lot of like what's going on in culture is just being just retarded. It's like, oh, some insane person over here 500 miles away just made this claim. Let's react to it and get all defensive about it. It's like, who cares what some nut job is saying? It's like, yeah, I'm busy, creating my own empire, basically. It's like, I don't have time to worry about what some insane person that just goes with whatever the crowd says thinks. It's like, maybe a good example is like a lion doesn't care what a zebra thinks. It gets to be, you almost have to, I wouldn't say separate yourself, because you are connected on some level, but it's also a contrasting thing where it's just like, I can define my identity as like, oh, there's a rapist fucking gang member over here. I'm not that. It's like, and not to like, say, oh, people are where they are because of their consciousness, and everything going on in their state of consciousness is a reflection of that. Whether they're, on either side of the pendulum, it doesn't matter to me, but it's like making like broad assumptions based on fucking cherry-picked fucking 1% problems. It's like, that's insane. But like me, I guess the way I'm looking at things, it's like, okay, well, I just unplugged from it. It's just like, oh, did you hear? Well, it's like when you're in like an information war, the last thing you need to be doing is like, oh, here's my subconscious mind. I'll take any programming that anybody has to offer. Let's just get that little download. Let's get that little download, and you can start seeing that with like some of the groups of people in like society or whatever. It's just like they're just completely puppeted around by just their own vacated. Oh, I'm gonna just let the external world program me. I'm just gonna do whatever, just like a slave, just like a fucking parrot. But for those of us who decided, like, that's not how I want to choose to experience life, because it is like a hell experience, constantly just being born into slavery. But, that's like the reality. It's like, I get tired sometimes of, like, the constant, oh, I believe I'm a panda, so, like, I need you to acknowledge that and validate that for me. It's like, listen, if you can't validate yourself, fuck off. I don't care, and that might sound cold or harsh or whatever, but I've just kind of been in one of those moods lately where it's like I've been around a lot of like the chickens and like the turkeys I have, it's just nature, creation, whatever, and it's like you can learn a lot from just like reality and not trying to like get it to bend to your whims and whatever, but just like see it for what it is. It's obviously it's like a reflection, for one, because you're projecting a lot of your own stories and everything onto it, but like when you stop doing that so much, realizing that you're all connected, everything's connected to your perception of it. I was like, well, that's a bold claim, Mike. It's like, I don't care to even convince you. It's like, believe whatever you want then. Let me see by your life whether or not you are excelling in an area that I give a fuck about. It's like, more than likely you're not. It's like, I was like telling that to somebody like earlier today. It's just like, I don't take advice or listen to people that aren't, that I, like, for example, it's like, I don't listen to fat people try to tell me how to be in shape. It's like, you don't know how to be in shape. It's like, I'm only listening to fitness advice from people that are ripped. From people at a higher level. It's just like, oh, there's no levels to anything. Everything is just, it's like, don't be fucking retarded. It's like, obviously there's like skill levels to things. There's people that are superior in different things. Not to say that, oh, you put people on a pedestal, but when you have people that have dedicated a lot of time, energy, attention into a specific area that they're excelling out, if you want to be at that same level or like learn something from them because of like where they're at, that's where I care. But so many people want to do nothing and just offer unsolicited advice or just project their own fears of why they don't do things onto you. And so it gets to a point, especially when you're practicing metaphysics, where it's like, you don't really need to share your goals or your ambitions or your drives with people. Like, oh, I need you to validate that and tell me it's going to be okay. Most of the time, people will tell you their fears of why they don't do it. So it's like, oh, I'm thinking about starting a new business, and this is what I'm doing. And then they'll go, well, it's a recession. It's a terrible time to start a business, and this is like, it's like there's a pandemic. This is a bad time for. It's like never a good time to start a business, and it's like. And even in starting a business, like, what are you doing that for? It's like, I've gotten to that position here lately because, like, the guy that was working for me, we were doing a bunch of jobs and stuff. He ended up quitting, and I started, like, having this, like, real peaceful attitude about, it's like such a relief, it's like, and I'll listen to like a bunch of people that entrepreneurs and people that are just making shit happen and everything. It's just like the same shit. It's like, well, you just need to work 20 hours a day and then you can. It's like, I don't fucking want to do that. That sounds awful. It's like, you can pay me $1 million a fucking year to work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's retarded. It's like There's so many other ways to provide value and stuff where you're not selling your time and your life for. It's like, I believe that's part of like the old mindset. It's like, well, I got to force it through and I got to do this. And I think and I also think it seems very scarcity mindset that you're got to spend all of your time to create something like that. So. Not to say they're doing anything wrong, but I just feel like either there's a better way or I don't fucking care to pursue that. It's like I would much rather, spend my day doing things that are more of more value, I guess, more in harmony with how I was created anyway, and so it's like there's and that's what I'm doing here lately. It's like I've literally, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've managed to feed the chickens and let my dog out a few times, but I just have like no real desire to do anything else today. I'd maybe make some like really good food or something. And that's like one of the things too, where it's just like I listen to these people that got all this cash, all this shit, and it's like, what are you buying all the time? It's like I got friends too. I mean, they got fucking shitloads of money. It's like I got one buddy in particular. He's probably spends $500 a day on just random fucking shit for his business and just in general. Even if he's not having, like, there was a time where he didn't have this business and he was still doing this. It's like, and it's like, to me, it's like, there's nothing I really want. It's like you can have a really fancy car. It's like, my dad had like owned a car dealership. It's like when I grew up, like there's like new cars like every week or something. It's just like I'm not impressed by that. It's like all I give a shit is that the car works. It's just like I turn the key on, it gets from point A to point B without fucking a bunch of drama. And with that, it's like, there's stuff you can buy for your house. And it's like, bro, I get people that call me to just that people have like left a whole house full of stuff. Furniture, TVs, clothes. It was like, can you clean it out for me? It's like, I don't give a fuck about things like that, and it's like things just come anyway. Everything is like when you don't have a bunch of mental resistance, like about like, oh, do I feel worthy of like getting this like cast iron skillet? It's like make some big story around it or something. It's like I didn't think about getting a cast iron skillet. Next thing you know, it's like I get 3 of them, just like, oh, somebody left this behind. Hey, I got an extra one. They just make their way to me, and it's just like more and more that you practice like metaphysics and like see how thoughts become things, the more unimpressive like things become, But then you get all, then it's like the floodgates open, you can get whatever, and it's just like put it to your test, try it for yourself. It's like you can only kind of just like live this this lifestyle for so long before it's just like. Me personally, I give a fuck what people think, or like, well, no, Mike, actually, evolution and like materialism and this, and it's like I used to believe those things until I realized it was like bullshit, and like once you realize it's bullshit, it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying and why you believe these things, but I used to believe like the Easter Bunny too. I used to believe Santa Claus was real and came and delivered presents, and it's like, but I'm not really into that kind of shit anymore. I'm not really into like feeding my subconscious like any information that of people being reactive to the world, because the world is an illusion. It's like you create the world, you create the people in power, you start reacting to the powers that be. It's like you are doing it. They have no real power. It's like you create, like you empower it, then you feel a victim to your own creation. All the world is a story you're telling yourself, and it's like, no, Mike, the world is, I can turn on CNN and Fox News and this and that, and that's what the world is. It's like, really? That's what you think the world is? It's like, you think the toilet is the world? And it's like, there's people right now living in like jungles and like I was watching this guy, he visited this tribe in Africa. It's like, on some level, I could probably get down with that tribe for a while, because like all the guys did, all day was like hunt for food, smoke weed, and like just like find, they're just out hunting all day. It's like, a lot of different ways, it's like being part of like this culture where it's like you don't have to hunt for your food, but you do have to hunt for like cash to buy the food and participate in that kind of like flow. Not to say there's anything even wrong with like the way things are set up. I think the biggest problem is your mindset regarding these things. I've noticed that with like hiring people, they bring all this baggage of like these mental stories about like, well, I'm going to be a worker, I'm going to do. It's just like, It's like all we're fixing this, we're getting paid. Knock the fuck, get these mental, well, these illusions, that people are under. It becomes like, I don't want to say draining, because I'm not around enough draining people, because I'm like, I don't need to be around people. It's like the most I'm like around people, is like doing jobs and like going to church and stuff like that. And I don't need I don't need that. It's like maybe some people need that. I don't really, but like I do enjoy I enjoy being around people that get it. If that makes sense. I like talking to people that aren't completely mesmerized by, and being hysterical. Oh, do you hear what they changed the definition of a recession? Do you hear that? It's like, I don't care what they say. It's like I don't look at the economy as some like caricature. It's like, most of the economy is bullshit anyway. It's when you have like people that are quantitatively easing these things, most of these corporations are just dead entities anyway. They aren't fucking making any real money based on capitalism. They're just, it's like, we're going on round 3 of fundraising. It's like, you aren't even making money. You're not even selling anything. What are you doing? Well, we got 80 people that work here. It's like, doing what? I did this job one time, and like, it was in my early 20s. This is kind of my drinking days and shit. I was in college. I was like an internship where I got hired in. And I was like meeting with this guy running for mayor of like pretty large city. I mean, like 200,000 people. I mean, it was like, it was like a deal, I guess. But like, I didn't give a fuck about it. It's like, and the guy actually, like, we ended up becoming friends because I just my mentality, I guess, because I just wasn't into like the, that culture of like kissing ass, I guess. But like we would have like 2.5 hour long meetings in the morning about letterhead and shit. It's just like, what the fuck? Just make it. You want to be a mayor, and we're having a 2-hour long conversation on make quick decisions. It's like, and that's one of the things I get like, I don't know, say like annoyed by, but I feel like, when you're present, it's really easy to be like, make decision, go. It's like, but when you're in this like kind of like unconscious thing, it's like you're so preoccupied and worried what other people are thinking and saying and doing, and well, do you think they'll like this font, or do you think it needs to be bigger? It's like, how about if we make it bold? Let's talk about that for 20 minutes. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't got this type of, I don't want to spend my life doing that, and like, yeah, I don't even kind of went on this tangent. I forgot what I mean, kind of talking, but kind of the illusions that we kind of find ourselves in. Realizing like so much of this shit is just cultural illusions and stories that people are saying. It's just like, does no basis on reality or truth, which makes it really easy to do your own thing when you realize there's no real competition. Because whatever you're experiencing in your life is a direct reflection of your consciousness, and so it's like. And that includes everything. It's like, I feel like a broken record just like saying this shit, because it becomes like a point of like, okay, well, once you know it's a game and it's an illusion, if you aren't then playing the game in an illusion and you're just sitting back on the sidelines just being reactive to the same fucking drama and bullshit, it's like, what are you doing then? It's like, it's an illusion. Well, then fucking have fun with it then. Take ownership. It's like, as I said something the other day, somebody was like, everything the light touches is mine. This is my fucking empire. Everything I see is mine. Who cares? What people are saying about it. It's just like, have fun. Enjoy your life. Contribute to others. But realizing that in like the divine order of thing, there's only one. So it's like, how can you be quote unquote and it's the people that are being really selfish are the ones that will accuse others of being selfish because you're not bending to their will. It's like, oh, you're being so selfish. I'm so afraid and hysterical. I need you to be afraid too, or keep me safe from my own fear and hysteria. It's like, bro, grow the fuck up. It's like, your emotional bullshit is not my problem. That's your problem, and you need to deal with it, or don't. I don't care. It doesn't affect me that you're sad or upset or angry or jealous or triggered or fill in the blank. Those are other people's problems, and like really getting to a point where you can like say and do and be yourself, be like who God created you to be, without really being hung up on, oh, what's the haters gonna say. It's like, the idea that you're gonna get 100% people liking you. There's people right now that are just fucking hating me. It's like, okay, that's fine. Enjoy hating, I guess. It makes no difference to me in a lot of different ways. Like the people that are haters will still like be a benefit anyway. I mean, they don't realize, there's just, it is what it is, but like, yeah, I just want to kind of get on here, just like, I don't know, vent, ramble, just drop some whatevers. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff, I'd like to do, play my guitar a little bit more today. I haven't done it at all today, but and kind of feeling like, catching that vibe, putting something out, really only do that just for like your guys' benefit, just like, just to vibe in that energy, watch something like that, you don't get to see somebody just like, recording something often, I guess, if you're not around a bunch of like musicians and stuff, or you're part of a country that doesn't have studios and stuff, so I just like do that for that reason, just to put out a good energy, try to, on some level, reap and sow, these different things, but like, the more I kind of do that, the more you kind of just realize that the only thing that you ever really need to change is your own mindset, your own state of consciousness, because that's what you got to deal with. And really, there's only one thing you're ever dealing with, is that's fear, which is also an illusion. So it's like the more that you're able to, see illusions for what they are, the more that you can just like not take it seriously. It's like you wouldn't take if you're in front of like multiple mirrors and you see like multiple versions of yourself, and it's like you wouldn't like be scared of that, if you realize what was going on. But if you're like a child, you can see all these people and you like feel like trapped in a mirror or something. You start telling yourself some ridiculous story, and then you believe the story and you become fearful and start freaking out and becoming hysterical, and the lashing out on others and whatever, but yeah, with that being said, I think I'm a balance. So thanks everybody for liking, sharing, subscribing, all the fun social networking things. Appreciate your spiritual support and your financial support. Thank you for that. Until the next now, God bless.